the defense.
Welcome to Split the Defense. I'm Webby here with Jay Rosehill, former NHLer left winger for the Philadelphia Flyers and our Maple Leafs, and co-host of Leafs Morning Take on the LeafsNation.com. Dude, thanks for joining me. Great to meet you. I want to ask you about Joe Woll. That's probably the hottest topic right now. Still now not seeing him going into 6 games on the season now. It's mostly been Anthony Stolarz. Does Woll taking his time to come in influence your confidence in his ability to be available this season?
Well, I mean, to be honest, from what we know, he's a guy that needs to try and stay healthy and has trouble doing so. So that was kind of the one caveat beside everyone being excited about him signing. And lo and behold, puck can't even drop opening night and he's injured. So it's not a good look. But I mean, we found out before the weekend that it was a groin injury, and he's definitely taking his time with it. And whether that's because it's a serious groin issue or it's minor and they're just being very cautious about it, it is not for us to know at this point. But bottom line, he's a great goalie and there's a lot of potential there, but it is a bit worrisome that he has this much trouble staying healthy.
Yeah, like his contract hasn't even kicked in yet, and we're already having multiple conversations in his tenure of health. That's not good. So Stolarz has been amazing, though. Do you think Stolarz should be the starter even when Woll is returned and healthy to play?
I don't really look at it as starters and non-starters. Like, as much as Stoli has done a great job coming in here and really playing fantastic for the time that he's been allotted. When Wool's healthy, he's going to get in, he's going to get some reps, and they'll probably be cautious with him and get him lots of reps in between games. And I think it'll be a while of Wool being healthy before they really need to make a decision on who they're going with. And I think the idea from the get-go is to kind of have them just about split games, and now that it's gone this way for Wool, I think that's even more evident now. So as far as being a number 1 or 2, I really just kind of think it's 1A, 1B, and Stoli has definitely, solidified himself as being a high value goalie and being able to be relied on. And I think it's going to be a while before there's 2 healthy, capable guys that they need to make a decision on. But I really think they'll just switch hit it and who's had more rest and who played last. And it's going to go back and forth like that. I don't see it being a real competition for that rock hard number 1 spot.
Yeah, that's fair. And I don't hate having Hildeby either. Excuse me.
Yeah, they're deep. They're deep. They
Yeah,
got Murray there
it's for
too.
the first time in a while.
I know it's always been an issue with them, and I think Woll could be the guy. I think his head is screwed on right to be a goalie in that market. His ability, his calmness in the net, and his poise is phenomenal. It's just literally these injuries are hurting his stock so badly, and I think it was a really nice play by Tree Living to go get Anthony Stolarz and put him in because he's proven like he is all kinds of capable.
Absolutely looks it so far. So we got a new goalie, we got a new coach too, and I'm sure you've talked about this ad nauseum because it's definitely something that we've talked about a lot. But I want to hear from you if you can reiterate what your thoughts are on the changes in play style so far. It's been pretty clear that there is a change in play style. How do you feel the players are doing at adapting to the faster pace, like to less possession game, more dump in, more north-south, go for the net? Is there anyone else you'd like to see more from?
Uh, Guys like Nick Robertson and Holmberg and these guys that, Robertson's an interesting cat. Like, yeah, you want to see more out of him. He's only getting paid, under $900,000. So is it fair to expect too much more from him? But the reality is he's a goal scorer and he's capable of scoring goals, big goals. He's got the skill. He can play with the big boys, but he's just not consistent enough to slide into that role. And he's, this year's a prime example. He was up against the gun with trade talks all over the place, signed a deal with them, and it was kind of like, we might ship you out of here, but here's training camp and here's preseason, and he lit it up and looked fantastic. But the puck drops opening night, and we haven't really seen anything from him since. So that consistency is a huge factor with him. And just as far as how the team goes with this new coach, I knew I was coached by Craig Berube in Philadelphia. I know his style of coaching, and I knew there'd be a level of accountability through the whole roster. Wasn't going to be any picking favorites or coddling anyone or letting them rule the roost by any stretch. It's going to be, this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to work hard on getting to the end of the season with everybody on board, everyone understanding who and what we are and pulling from the same rope. And, I don't think these players are totally used to that, but I think they've done a pretty good job adapting to it. And, the fact that, this game against Tampa, if it doesn't go well, they'll be a 500 hockey team. That doesn't really worry me at this point in the season because they are going through so many changes and getting used to, this new coaching style.
With the new coaching style and the way that they're playing, do you see it leading to more success, or do you still have the same doubts in the players?
No, I think that, it's up for debate what's been wrong with the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've had rosters that should be able to go further than they have. The reality is, though, they've only won one series in the last 20 some years. It's inexplicable to some people, but I think that the problem is with the chemistry and being able to play together as a team and having an identity that you can fall back on, say in the playoffs when things get rough, you get down by 2 goals or you're down a game or two, and the individual type of mind would just start scattering. Everyone goes off on their own, tries to do it themselves, and no one's on the same page. And I feel like there's a little bit of that going on in Toronto. And now Rube coming in, I think he's going to create an identity that these guys can kind of rely on, lean back on, and they're going to build character every single week of the season and building towards those playoffs. And I think that's what they've been missing, is having that rock solid identity that they know who they are. They've been through the ups and downs and they're all pulling on the same rope. I think could go a long way for them, because it's kind of what's been missing from them. When things go wrong in the playoffs, this team's supposed to be so high-powered, high-octane offense, and when things go wrong, they're just looking at each other and they have no idea what to do, and I believe it's because they don't have that structure in place.
Yeah, I definitely will say this version of the Leafs, I kind of said that I thought Ryan Reeves as an enforcer on this team wasn't necessarily redundant as the word, but unnecessary as it was when he signed, because everybody seems to be a little bit tougher. Everybody seems to be a little bit more willing to get involved, and everybody seems to be, gaining that identity that you're talking about. I wanted to ask about OEL and Tanev. They come in, man, they completely reshape this top four. I think most of us expected that from Tanev. We all kind of expected his game. But do you think OEL has outplayed his expectations, the ones that were set on him when his contract was signed? Did you expect this from the guy? Am I just being a fanboy here, getting too excited about my new toy, or do you think OEL's got something for this team?
Well, yeah, I tweeted it the other night. I was like, who are the naysayers on OEL when he signed? Like, show yourselves, because he looks phenomenal. And I never knocked it. I know there's always, issues on how old is a player and how prone to injury are they over the hill and whatnot. But when you look at the back end of the Toronto Maple Leafs and you look at OEL, I mean, he's solid, he's smart, he's consistent, he moves the puck up. He can, he's got that good bit of defense going on. He's got a bit of offense going on. You can use him in all different positions and situations. It just looked like he plugged a lot of holes. And I don't think that the back end has had that in a while. It's kind of all been on Morgan Rielly's shoulders, and I don't think that's really fair. And now with Tanev and OEL, there's just more to go around, more to share on the back end there, and less pressure on a guy like Morgan Rielly. I think, as we start to pass Christmas, I think you're really going to see Morgan Rielly, finding his groove and being able to flourish in the role that he's now got, which is basically less demanding than what he's had for so many years. And I'm really not surprised. I knew OEL, he's a high stock guy. He's in, the teams he's played for, and people are thinking he's going downhill. But I just think for the Maple Leafs roster specifically, he fit in quite well and was a nice signing, and he's only proved that so far. So whether it continues on like this or he goes through some bumps in the road is yet to be seen. But I mean, so far he's just been a great addition.
Honestly, having an OEL back there has just made a world of difference in the offensive zone. I remember all I could picture is the 14 passes that Marner made to Joel Edmondson last year. And it's like, that is not the guy you want this puck on his stick at the top of the zone. OEL, you feel a little more comfortable, right? Yeah. All right, last one I can get in here before we run out of time. Tavares. Tavares time's down 90 seconds a game this year. He's really looking like the third line center. Nobody seems to really fit with him. I don't really think him and Robertson are a fit. Do you have any idea who he should play with, where he should play? What are your thoughts on John Tavares and his fit with this team?
Hmm. It's tough, man. I mean, sometimes he comes up huge, and he's like that guy that knows where the play is, can finish it, has got the pedigree to be that dude. And then sometimes he just looks a little bit slow. He's a little bit wide legged. He pulls up and is looking for someone and is just kind of a little bit lost, a little bit step behind, and it's tough. I think right now the whole coaching staff is trying to find that formula and those line mates of who can get it done. And do you put him with, a Pacioretty, or do you put him with a Robertson, or who do you want? A guy that's do you want to complement him with some speed, or is that speed going to be out skating him, or do you want to have someone that's more on the same page? It's hard to say, but this point in the season, especially with where this team is at, I think it's the best time to try different things. That being said, I was not a fan the way Sheldon Keefe would just literally put the lines in a blender, and he couldn't even get through 60 minutes without changing the lines. I don't mind it this time of year, though, with Craig Berube, as he tries to figure out what makes every guy tick, the habits of each player, and then starts to, try different things. And ultimately, you're just trying to find your best lineup that you can put together barring any injury, and figure out what that is. And that's what these first 20 games are for, is figuring out who goes well with who and who complements who. And it's a tough job, man, because sometimes the most unlikely thing will hit, and all of a sudden these guys have chemistry and they like playing with each other, and you just roll with it. So it's hard to say what would work and what wouldn't, because even the guys that have control of that and are there every day are still trying different things, trying to find that formula.
It's a great point, and John Tavares has been known to play with Guy A and Guy B in New York for the Islanders. So he can do it. We just got to figure out which Guy A and which Guy B it'll be.
Exactly.
So thanks for joining me, man. I really appreciate having you on. You can follow Leafs Morning Take, and you can follow Jay on Twitter at J_D_Rosehill. We are here on Split the Defense with Jay Rosehill, and I'm Webby. Until next time, peace.
Thanks, man.
Follow the boys on Twitter at STDPWebby, at Craig D. Pierce, and at Ted_is_show.